Today's temperature in Sausalito is 72 degrees Fahrenheit with 14-mile-an-hour winds and 59-degree humidity. Today is Monday, August the 3rd, 2020 at 2:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now we're going to begin the journey adventure in Sausalito down the WalkPath, the waterfront actually, in the heart of downtown Sausalito. As I mentioned earlier, now the parking is a few miles north from where this waterfront is, just off of Locust Street, near the Dunphy Park. So essentially, if you're driving, you're coming over the Golden Gate Bridge, you take the Alexander Avenue exit, you come down the hill, you'll see the waterfront, and you continue going north until you find Locust Street, turn right into the parking lot, park there, and then you're gonna have to walk back going southbound on Bridgeway. This is the main, waterfront is on Bridgeway Street. So you walk southbound on Bridgeway back to where the waterfront is. And of course, as you're walking southbound on Bridgeway, you're gonna see all those boutique shops, you'll see a few restaurants, and you'll see where the Ferry building is. All the areas we're going to cover, you're going to see most of that as you working your way down Bridgeway, going southbound. So let's begin going northbound on Bridgeway along the waterfront. So here's a seating area where you can stop, take photos or videos of the spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. Many residents live up on the hillside of Sausalito, where, as you can imagine, they're able to view spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay, which includes the Treasure Island, which we'll get into later, as well as the East Bay and the Bay Bridge. The waterfront offers many spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. You see it's a tremendous opportunity for you to go sailing or boating. You see the Alcatraz Island at a distance. And the ferry service from Sausalito currently isn't running right now, but we'll approach that later on as we move further north on Bridgeway. But the ferry service is going to take you from San Francisco to Sausalito and then Sausalito back to the city. Now that mountain at the distance there is called Treasure Island. It's got a lot of history, and they do tram tours there on the island, and it offers, when you get to the top, it's only like 750 elevation. It offers spectacular views, panoramic views of the entire Bay Area. We'll probably feature that at another film session. Now this is the Bridgeway Avenue road that you'll find as you're driving, as you take, as I said earlier, you take the Alexander Avenue exit off of 101, you're coming down the hill, and then when you get down to the end of the hill where the waterfront is, this is Bridgeway. So this Bridgeway Avenue is going to take you to the heart of downtown Sausalito. Here's one of many benches along the waterfront where you can stop, relax, take photos or videos of the spectacular view of the San Pablo Bay. Where you can get closer to the waterfront, there's a step well leading down to where the rocks are, and again, it just allows you to observe the waterfront at even closer distance. Now, adjacent to the waterfront sidewalk is there, as you can see, there's another walk path where this is adjacent to the rocks, and again, it allows you to get closer to the water. So here's a seating area where you can stop, take photos or videos of the spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. Many residents live up on the hillside of Sausalito, where, as you can imagine, they're able to view spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay, which includes the Treasure Island, which we'll get into later, as well as the East Bay and the Bay Bridge. The waterfront offers many spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. You see it's a tremendous opportunity for you to go sailing or boating. You see the Alcatraz Island at a distance. And the ferry service from Sausalito currently isn't running right now, but We'll approach that later on as we move further north on Bridgeway. But the ferry service is going to take you from San Francisco to Sausalito and then Sausalito back to the city. Now that mountain at the distance there is called Treasure Island. It's got a lot of history, and they do tram tours there on the island, and it offers, when you get to the top, it's only like 750 elevation. It offers spectacular views, panoramic views of the entire Bay Area. We'll probably feature that at another film session. Here's one of many benches along the waterfront where you can stop, relax, take photos or videos of the spectacular view of the San Pablo Bay. Where you can get closer to the waterfront, there's a step well leading down to where the rocks are, and again, it just allows you to observe the waterfront at even closer distance. Now, adjacent to the waterfront sidewalk is there, as you can see, there's another walk path where this is adjacent to the rocks, and again allows you to get closer to the water. One of many of the hillside homes where they offer spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. Now we're entering the heart of the waterfront area within the heart of downtown Sausalito, where you're going to see more of the boutique shops and restaurants. As I mentioned earlier, there are lots of cycling options along Bridgeway leading up to and from the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the second walk path along the waterfront going southbound. Here's the second walk path going northbound, and you also have opportunity to go fishing as well. So there are fishing options along the waterfront. There's no bike riding on the sidewalk. They prefer you do that on the Bridgeway Avenue. You see more fishing options along the waterfront. There's also sailing options in the San Pablo Bay. As you move further northbound on Bridgeway Avenue, I'll show you the companies where you can rent out a sailboat and go sailing or fishing in the bay. These are the views that you're going to see. That view there, the mountain in the background, is Belvedere Island, which is one of the most affluent areas in the Bay Area. There's even swimming options in the bay, although I'm not certain where you can actually dive into the water, assuming that it's safe. I forgot to mention that there's a public parking lot that's right along Bridgeway Avenue, just as you come down the hill as you're driving from, as I said earlier, Alexander Avenue exit. You come down the hill, you exit, you find Bridgeway going northbound, and just to your left, about maybe a half a mile along Bridgeway, is you'll see a public parking area where the rates are pretty competitive, but I forgot about this public parking lot. Now here's some more directional signs indicating where the ferry is, which is we're heading next. Also, there's more public parking off of Anchor Street, which I forgot about, as you continue along Bridgeway going northbound. Now here's another public parking lot that I forgot to mention to you that's just on Bridgeway, but this parking lot, like the one I mentioned to you earlier on Bridgeway, they both charge parking fees. Whereas the first one I previously mentioned to you, with the one in which I parked at, offers free parking for 3 hours. That's the one that's on Locust Street. There they offer free parking for 3 hours. But this parking lot and the second one I just mentioned to you earlier, they both charge rates for parking. Here's the parking lot, which is, this parking lot, I forgot to mention also, is adjacent to the ferry, the Sausalito Ferry entrance. The pay station for parking in this parking lot.
Hillside runs 1,000 driver lunch.
Now here's yet another public parking lot that's, again, just a few feet from where the ferry terminal is, right off of Bay Street. Now this parking lot, like the last three I mentioned, they do charge rates, fees for parking, unlike the first one, which I'm staying at, which is free, the public parking lot. Now, right across the street is yet another public parking lot, which again, there is a fee for the public parking, but it's right off of Bay and Bridgeway. More views of the public parking lot. The pay stations at the public parking lot. More views of the public parking lot. Now, although there is parking on the street of Sausalito, keep in mind that they have a limit to 3 hours, and it's metered parking, and they do enforce it between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. The parking on Bridgeway Street. Now, Locust Street is the street you want to turn into off of Bridgeway and of course off of Caledonia, where they offer free parking up to 3 hours. And that's where I'm parking at right now. So let's take a quick look of the free parking lot that's off of Locust Street, and then we'll resume on Caledonia Street. Now, I said earlier, here's the directional sign leading to the free parking lot off of Locust Street. Well, I said earlier, the parking lot is free for 3 hours from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. It includes every day, including holidays. The free parking lot. I'll come back to the free parking lot later when we finish up Caledonia Street, because there's a few things I'm going to show you within this parking lot. So turn left up this hill within the parking lot, and you're going to find more free parking spaces. There is 3-hour free parking on Hillside Avenue, just off of Bridgeway, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, we're back at the free parking lot I mentioned earlier, just off of Locust Street, which is just off of Bridgeway. So let's continue on. Here's an entrance from the free parking lot that offers spectacular views of the Sausalito Bay. So as you can see, here's more wonderful views of the San Pablo Bay, where there's lots of boating and fishing options. Just outside from the free parking lot. What's special about the bay also is that there's many other options of activities. You've got kayaking, you've got sailing, you've got fishing, and much more. Here's a resting seating area with spectacular views of the San Pablo Bay. You see there's lots of boats out in the area. Now this area, seating area, is just outside the free parking lot. And also I discovered earlier today that this area is a launching area for kayaking. So let's take a closer look. This is where I saw two gentlemen taking their boats out for kayaking. So essentially you can park at the free parking lot and then take your kayaking boat out and kayak the bay. I'll try to see if I can find some kayak rentals along Bridgeway. There's a mini trail that's just along the outskirts of the parking lot area. So the trail turns slightly towards Durfee Park. Durfee Park is going to be right across the little creek river here. So we'll check that out as well. We'll see where this goes. So this mini trail pretty much is kind of like a loop that just connects you back to the free parking lot. Venice Gourmet Boutique is a delicatessen shop where you have the options of purchasing wine, cheese, gift items, and also they have outdoor seating. Now, Angelino features an Italian restaurant that features seafood, pizza, pasta, and they also have a bar. Now the Trident restaurant along the waterfront, for starters, they offer open deck dining with spectacular views of the bay. The deck area is in the back of the restaurant. One of their feature menu entrees is a New York style lobster, and they do the Trident cheeseburger. They also offer valet parking, and also there's a bike rack. Now right across the street from the Trident is the Sausalito Bakery and Cafe. It serves wine and beer, and they serve breakfast and lunch. Now Skoma's is another waterfront restaurant option that you can take, where they offer spectacular views of the bay, and they feature lots of seafood options, oysters, clam chowder, and much more. As you can see along Skoma's, they have outdoor dining where you can observe spectacular views of the bay. Now here's a nice fish and chips restaurant that serves burgers, ice cream, and yogurt. More dining options. You can check out Taste of Rome Cafe, Italian cuisine. That's good to hear. Taste of Rome. Here's Sauté Indian Cafe featuring Indian ethnic cuisine. Our Run Thai cuisine features many Thai entrees, curry, eggplant, and many more. Now, Sushi Ran is a well-known Japanese restaurant that delivers fresh fish daily from Tokyo. Well, right on the corner of Coloma and Bridgeway, there's some more dining options. You've got Suta, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Thai kitchen, and you have the Homolinas guys. Taste of the Homolinas restaurant. If you like pizza, check out Dario's Pizza and Pasta. Hi. Poggio is an outstanding northern Italian cuisine. I dined there several years ago. They've got many specials. They've got pasta, they got some seafood, veal, salmon, and many other entrees. Outstanding Italian cuisine. Forgot to mention, Poggio also offers outdoor dining along the sidewalk. Well, if you like Mexican restaurant along Bridgeway, you've got Copita restaurant. One of their main entrees, enchiladas, homemade tortillas, tamales, and of course a wide selection of tequila. If you like hamburgers, there's a hamburger shop at 737 Bridgeway. Now as you exit from the parking lot and the Books by the Bay back to Bridgeway, you'll find the restrooms, public restrooms, both men and women. Restroom options at Dunphy Park. Dunphy is spelled D-U-N-P-H-Y. One of two lodging options on El Patel Street is Hotel Sausalito. Now the other lodging area in El Patel Street is the Inn Above Tide, which is right adjacent to the Sausalito Ferry. And they offer elegant warm rooms, elegant suites. They also have deck rooms with views of the bay. The Inn Above Tide. The Casa Madrona Hotel and Spa is an elegant hotel in an 1885 mansion featuring a full-service spa and the Poggio restaurant I mentioned earlier, which is adjacent to the hotel. Nana's Treasures features an antiques vintage store plus other collectibles. Now across the street along the waterfront, you've got many of the several boutique shops that I mentioned earlier, Real Napa, wine tasting, you've got munchies, candies, and you even got an art gallery. Crazy Shirts is an upbeat clothing store that sells like souvenir type of clothes, hats, shops, shirts, sunglasses, and more. Now Princess Street, just off of Bridgeway, is going to offer more boutique shops, maybe a few restaurants, and a few other points of interest items within downtown Sausalito. Here's a directional sign that gives you many of your options of the shops that are in the area. Scomo's Restaurant, we passed earlier, Gables Inn, Angelino Restaurant, Bubble Street Gallery, and Dynamic Energy Crystals, among many shops. More shops to explore. Here's a bike rental shop that also provides tours of Sausalito, including Marin Headlands, Muir Woods, the houseboats, and more. Continuing along Bridgeway. The Hansen Gallery features organic vodka tasting. Nana's Treasures features an antiques vintage store plus other collectibles. Now across the street along the waterfront, you've got many of the several boutique shops that I mentioned earlier, Real Napa, wine tasting, you've got munchies, candies, and you even got an art gallery. Crazy Shirts is an upbeat clothing store that sells like souvenir type of clothes, hats, shops, shirts, sunglasses, and more. Here's a directional sign that gives you many of your options of the shops that are in the area. Scomo's Restaurant, we passed earlier, Gables Inn, Angelino Restaurant, Bubble Street Gallery, and Dynamic Energy Crystals, among many shops. Now here's Princess Court, which features a few more shops on Princess Street: Bodegas, Brighton, Gallery Sausalito, and a few others. Here's a bike rental shop that also provides tours of Sausalito, including Marin Headlands, Muir Woods, the houseboats, and more. Continuing along Bridgeway. Once you pass Princess Street on Bridgeway, you're going to see more of the boutique shops and a few more dining options on both sides of the street. The interesting thing about walking on Bridgeway is that, depending on time of day, of course, one side of the street is shaded and the other side is not. So if you want to get away from the sun, you walk on the side that's shaded. If you don't mind being in the sun, you get on the side, of course, that's on the sunny side. There's also an ice cream and yogurt shop, which also has outdoor seating. It serves coffee, espresso, smoothies, and much more. The shoe stores of Sausalito not only carries shoes, but also handbags and purses, designer brands, and much more. Barcelona store features fine Italian attire, both men and women. How about wine tasting on Bridgeway Avenue? Bacchus and Venus offers wine tasting of California's finest wines. Now, Best Friends Pet Supply Shop carries a high quality. For those of you that have pets, you can check out the dog grooming spa. There's also eco-friendly dog salon. Robert Allen Fine Art is a fine art consulting firm specializing in canvas, sculpture, and many other types of fine art. So if you have a need for picture framing, you can check out Sausalito Picture Framing and Printing. Or how about Rima's Hair Design? bike racks for parking, for bike parking at Dunphy Park.
Great view, isn't it?
So nice.
Very nice.
Wow.
I know, I love Sausalito. I like the public shoreline.
Now here's the bus stop area that's again right adjacent to the park, where you have the local county buses to pick up here, but also the tour buses, like the Hanoverable hop-on, hop-off bus. Now this is the stop that you're gonna use to be dropped off and picked up at as you continue your adventure in Sausalito. Another view of the bus stop, where, as I said earlier, is where you're going to be using to be picked up and dropped off at within downtown Sausalito. There is public transit in Sausalito. There's several bus routes that run through on Bridgeway. You see the 2 line, the 30, the 92, 17, 17X, 71X, 61, 115. You know, Robinson Sweeney Park offers several recreational opportunities for families. There's a swing chair area, playground for children. You also have a basketball court, and there's a large grass area. Here's more of the playground area, which includes the sand area, swings, also a slide, great for children and families. The grass area for relaxing and unwinding. Now here's the basketball court area, so those of you who like play a little round ball, you have the opportunity to do that. Basketball court area. Now, here's the parking lot to Dunphy Park. And I just learned that it's a free parking lot. So this will be another option for free parking in Sausalito. And then as mentioned earlier, you just walk southbound on Bridgeway back to downtown Sausalito. More of the Dunphy parking lot. Restroom options at Dunphy Park. Dunphy is spelled D-U-N-P-H-Y. Here's about 3 or 4 bocce ball courts within Dunphy Park. While I stand corrected in terms of public parking, although Dunphy Park is public parking, it's primarily for the park only, for visiting the park only, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They do have an indication about Gay Lee permit parking only from 6 p.m. to 9 a.m., but I'm not certain what Gay Lee is. I'll try to find out. Bike racks for parking, for bike parking at Dunphy Park. Now, if and when you decide to do your adventure, whether it be cycling or driving in Sausalito, you will face some sun glare as you're driving northbound on Bridgeway, depending on the time of day of the year. Like right now, it's between 6:30 and 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so bear that in mind. How you doing? On Bridgeway. Now, Bridgeway also has a nice cycling path as well. It's great for cyclists, and then you can see the cycling path is adjacent to the sidewalk. Directional sign leading to Mill Valley and Tiburon. Now that's going to be our second destination stop. As I mentioned before early on, one of the many boutique areas to visit in Marin County, as well as Larkspur. But also, I didn't mention Mill Valley. Mill Valley is another little hidden gem that we'll probably focus in on another time, another film shoot. But nevertheless, that's going to be our destination. We won't get to Tiburon today, but that's going to be our next major destination point. Another directional sign indicating some of the attractions in the specific area along Bridgeway. We mentioned the Caledonia Street, which we were on, City Hall, which of course is on Caledonia Street, Dunphy Park, which we just visited, and then earlier Robinson Sweeney Park on Caledonia Street. And we've got a few more attractions going northbound on Bridgeway. The Kikimi Sausalito Boat Yard and the Schoonmaker Beach. Now turn right off of Bridgeway on Liberty Ship Way, and that's where you're going to find the Bay Model Museum. Liberty Ship Way. Directional sign towards the Bay Model Visitor Center Museum. Okay, here's the Bay Model Visitor Center, but unfortunately it's closed right now and it's uncertain whether or not it will reopen. Directional sign leading to the parking lot for the Bay Model Museum. The parking lot for the Bay Model Museum. Well, I stand corrected slightly. The entrance to the Bay Model Museum is just a block away from the signage that I mentioned, I showed you earlier. Although that's a part of the Bay Model Museum, the actual entrance is where you got to make a right at the next street. There's like a street lane that takes you right into where the entrance is. Essentially, it's on the opposite end of the building. Okay, here's that street I was telling you about. You turn right from as you enter Liberty Way, and then you come down this street here, and then to your right is where you'll find the entrance to the Bay Model Museum. There's also more parking in the area as well. Now here's another one of those information posts that's just outside of the entrance to the Bay Model Museum, and this particular post talks about the marine ship area. In other words, this area was used to build boats, and that building that's used for the Model Museum was used to build boats. Now, of course, it's a regular museum that showcases the bridges throughout the bay. Here's another view of the seating area just outside the Bay Model Museum that offers spectacular views of the bay. Well, here's the payphone. I don't know if you do CDs around anymore, but nevertheless, if you need to make an emergency call, here's a payphone, and if you don't have an iPhone, here's another option to make your call. More parking options at the Bay Model Museum. Exiting the Bay Model Museum towards Bridgeway. Well, there's a tennis court, public tennis court, that's adjacent to the Bay Model Museum. Those of you who like to play tennis, you can check that out. You can log on. Tennis and Marin. What's that?
Are we going to get residuals for this?
Possibly.
Okay.
Would you want my card?
No thanks. We trust you. The two guys out playing tennis Monday night, August 3rd, Sausalito. I'm sure the check will get to us.
I was trying to figure out if this court is public tennis or private.
Oh, it's public.
Oh, it's public.
Yeah.
Now, do you have to make a reservation or?
No. Just come out and play.
Let's come out and play.
There's 3 courts here, and there's 5 courts over at MLK.
Oh, there's more courts over there.
But
okay.
There's no separation between those.
Okay, there's no separation like it is here. Okay.
Yeah. So these have issues, like with cracks and stuff. The other courts are newly surfaced. They're good.
Okay.
Nets are good. Everything's good over there. It's just there's no separation.
There's no separation.
Yeah.
All right.
It's by you go back out here to Bridgeway, and you go up to the next light, which is, I can't remember the end of the street, but you go to the second light, turn left, and you'll see the courts right next to the park on the right hand side.
Okay, great, thanks. So you see there's 2 tennis courts here, public tennis courts here, and then there's more on Bridgeway, just off of Bridgeway. And as I said earlier, you can check out tennisinmarin.com to get more information on the tennis courts. There's also restrooms just outside of the tennis courts. One of several resting bench areas where you can sit and relax, maybe have lunch just outside of the tennis courts with a view of the grass area. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the film clip, there's lots of nice homes that are on the hillside in Sausalito, which offers spectacular views of the bay. So I guess we must have missed it, but there's also the Marin Plaza Harbor for boat slip rentals, and also the Marin Sailing Academy, They're both on Marine Ship Way. And remember, Marine Ship Way is just off of Bridgeway. Continuing along Marine Ship Way. Continuing along Marine Ship Way. Now here's the stepwell leading back up to Bridgeway, but we're going to continue on Marine Ship Way, Liberty Ship Way. So just towards the end of Marine Ship Way, you also have Molly Stone's grocer. So towards the end of your adventure in Sausalito, if you need to pick up any grocery items, you can check out Molly Stone's. Now you could, as you approach Coloma Street, you could turn left on Coloma and find the Martin Luther King Field Gymnasium. It's going to have more recreational activities in this specific area. Now here's a park area where there's a grass field. Looks like you can play softball. Looks like there's a kids' playground. And there's some tennis courts in the background. Now here's a panoramic view of the grass field area, recreational area. Now here's the softball field. The park restrooms and water fountain area. The tennis and basketball court area. More of the basketball court area. More of the basketball court area without the obstructed view of the fence. Leading up to the other tennis courts that the gentleman mentioned earlier at the Bay Model Museum. He said there were more tennis courts near the Martin Luther King area park. So this is where they're at. More views of the tennis court. So here's a resting seating area just outside of the tennis court, but it appears as though it needs to kind of a cleanup. At least the table does, at least. So I didn't notice this road at first, but if you just continued making that left turn on Coloma off of Bridgeway and just come up Coloma, you can park here on the side and then you can participate in any of the recreational activities. Well, here's more information on the park. It's called MLK Campus. You've got the playground, the tennis courts, the basketball courts. I didn't see the dog park, but there's a gymnasium, new village school, cottage industry and artist gallery, a building. So they got several activities going on here within the MLK campus. And here's more parking options just outside of the softball field. If your car is running low on gas, you can check out Shell gas station. Here's their current gas rates, and also they have a car wash. Okay, this is the entrance to the dog park. I didn't see it earlier, mainly because it's on the opposite end of the Coloma Street entrance to the MLK Park. More of the dog park. The dog park. more of the dog park. So this is the opposite end of the Martin Luther King recreational area, which I said earlier includes the dog park on the opposite end of the park. But also you can see the grass area, a panoramic view of the grass area, along with the playground in the background and the softball area in the background. So the MLK Park literally runs from Coloma to Hillside Avenue in Bridgeway. So I didn't realize the park is that large, but initially it runs about a length block apart. So there is 3-hour free parking on Hillside Avenue, just off of Bridgeway, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Well, this concludes our at Park 1 series of adventures showcasing the town of Sausalito as we work our way towards Tiburon and eventually Larkspur. I hope you enjoyed the scenic views of the bay, the boutique restaurants, the shops, the hillside homes, the views of the bay, the unique parks, and all the recreational activities that you can experience while visiting Sausalito. And don't forget to turn to my YouTube channel to subscribe to my channel for more video content on the San Francisco Bay Area top attractions. Don't forget to visit my website at PairRec.com. That's PAIRREC.com, where you get the contact information and all the top attractions. And of course my blog is there where you can learn from my personal experiences in visiting the top Bay Area attractions. Subscribe to my newsletter where you get discounts and promotions on all the top attractions. And most importantly, we will continue this journey of the cities of Marin County, going northbound on Bridgeway from the Martin Luther King Recreational Center. That's all for now. Goodbye.